We have seen the Lorentz force on a single charge. Now we are seeing this, we are extending or we are seeing the same thing, or that magnetic force on a current carrying conductor. So now we are extending this to a conductor. So now let us say that we have a straight rod. This is a current carrying conductor, and the cross sectional area is A, length is L. So this length is L and area is A. We assume one kind of mobile charge carriers in conductor, here electrons. So we know that in conductors charge carriers are electrons. So electrons are there, these are the charge carriers. Now let us, N is the number density of charge carriers per unit volume that we have learnt in the last chapter, that small n is capital N by V, that means total number of charge carriers divided by the volume. Okay, and now what is volume? Volume is AL. So total number of charge carriers, what is the total number of charge carriers? This is the charge carrier density. So you would be asking that why don't we directly take N? Because the reason is that generally this small n, charge carrier density for most of the materials, is already been calculated, that we know. For most of the material this n is known. This n is known for most of the material, whether it is copper, it is iron. So we always take small n, and area we know and length we know. So volume is simply length into area, so that we know, and capital N is equal to n small n into V, that is N L A. So somebody may ask, some of you may ask that why don't we start with n? Because we don't know n and we cannot calculate n for every material. That's why we always start with small n, because for most of the material this small n is known. For copper this small n is nearly equal to 9 into 10 to the power 28 per meter cube. So this is for copper, so that we know. So if the size of copper metal is known to us, that means length and area, we can simply calculate the total number of charge carriers by simply N into L into A. But every time, sometimes if the piece is small, if the piece is bigger, so there is no way we can calculate the number of charge carriers in that piece. That's why we always start with this small n. So now let us solve this thing. So we have a straight rod, cross sectional area is A, length is L. Okay, so length is L, cross sectional area is A, number density or charge carrier density is N. Density of the mobile charge carrier is N, charge carriers are electron. So the total number of charge carrier is NLA. So capital N is equal to NLA. So this is the total number of charge carriers. Now for a steady current IE in this conducting rod, we may assume that each mobile carrier has a drift velocity. So in the last chapter, we know that when we apply some external field, so a current is produced because these charge carriers start moving with some average velocity, which we call drift velocity. So drift velocity is Vd of the charge carriers, and in presence of external magnetic field B. So we put this in some external magnetic field B. Now the total force on the carriers. Let us solve this thing. Total force on the carriers. So first let us see, as we know, F is equal to Q V cross B. This was the force on a single carrier. Now if we have number of carriers capital N, we have capital N charge carriers, what would be the force? N into Q, V will be replaced by Vd, that is drift velocity, and B is B. Now put the value of N. N is equal to N L A into Q. This is Vd cross B. So this is the total force on all the carriers. Force is equal to NLA, which is capital N, Q, Vd cross B. V is simply changed by drift velocity, Vd cross B. So this is the total force on the charge carriers. Now here Q is the value of the charge on a carrier that we know, and what is NQV? NQVD. NQVD, that is simply the current density J. That is simply current density J. This we have learned in the last chapter, and J is equal to I by A. I by A. If we put it here, I is equal to J into A. I is equal to J into A. So I is equal to N Q V D into A. So this is I. So let us put it here. So F is equal to N Q V D. Okay, L and A is outside, cross B. So same here, this NQVD is JAL into B. See it again. So what we did, we put the same formula N Q VD. This becomes J. This first part becomes J. Now this L and A, so this is L and A and L, and JA is I. B is still there, cross B. So I L cross B. So what is the formula? F is equal to I L cross B. Again see, L and B both are vector quantities. L and B both are vector quantities. So it was quite simple. What we know the force on a single charge carrier QV cross B. V is changed by Vd. Total number of charge carriers is NLA. Charge density into volume. Now this NQVD is J, and here we have taken the mod. That means the sign is neglected. And when we apply this, or sorry, multiply this with this A, this becomes I. So F is equal to this NQVD, this is JA L cross B. So JA L cross B, this is IL cross B. So F is equal to IL cross B. So this is our expression. This is the Lorentz force on a current carrying conductor. Now here L is a vector with magnitude L. L becomes a vector, and it is the same as direction. The direction of this vector is identical to the current I. So current is moving in this direction. This L is also moving in this same direction. So the direction for both of them is same. There are some points to be noted in this Fi L cross B. In this formula, some points to be noted. Note that current I is not a vector. Now vector has been transferred from I to L because both have same direction. In the last step of this, so previously see, J and I were vector. Now this vector has been transferred to L because both are in same direction. We have transferred vector from J to L. This equation holds for a straight rod. This equation is good for a straight rod, but this equation is for B in external magnetic field. So this is for external magnetic field B, not the field produced by current carrying rod. So this is important point. This is true only when B is the external magnetic field, not the field produced by the current carrying rod. Suppose if we have this arbitrary shape, let us say rod is like this. Rod is not straight, then what will happen? We take very small pieces that are straight and we will use simply the summation for these small pieces. F is, we know F is equal to I L cross B. So current is same for all of them, I, magnetic field is also same. Now these small pieces is DLJ. This small piece is DLJ and summation over J. So what would be I DL1 cross B plus I DL2. So this is vector DL2 cross B and so on. So for a shape which is arbitrary, which is not straight, what would we do? We do this summation.